Hello and welcome to Coffee with Kirti. We have a fantastic guy, a guy who is really close friend of mine. His name is Nikhil Bhaskaran. He's a rare mix of Indian jugaad and a lot of really smart, nerdy, geeky characteristic things inside him. He's somebody who you come across as somebody very happy to help people, and he's always talking about technology. So Nikhil, welcome to
Yeah,
Coffee with Kirti. How are you
thank
doing
you,
today?
Kirti. Great meeting you again. And congrats on this new format. So I think you already have a lot of wisdom of the startup world. Good that you're sharing it all out
Yeah,
and
yeah.
inspiring a lot of people.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Nikhil. So Nikhil is actually the founder of IoT.in. This is a community for IoT people, a lot of technology behind it. So Nikhil, tell me about how you started IoT, and even before IoT, tell me about the journey. You have lived in China for more than 6 7 years there, and you have made a lot of friends over there, and
Uh-huh.
a lot of technology stuff, right? So tell me, from your backpacking days to China, learning the
Mm-hmm.
technology and then bringing that to India. Tell me about that.
Okay. So yeah, basically I just did engineering from Bombay, and then but at that very early period, I always knew that I'm not going to work for anyone. This was
Uh-huh.
very clear from day one. I was never in that thing that I would apply for a job. This was largely because by the time I was 16, I had already done a lot of odd jobs,
Okay.
like door-to-door selling and stuff like that. So I had kind of a hang of how things work on the ground. And
Uh-huh.
before that, I was extremely, a very different person. So not going into that. But from there, I had realized doing things on the ground that if you really put yourself onto the field and pick up skills, you can make money. There's no need to apply for a job. And mostly during engineering, I was seeing people were confused on how would they get their job and stuff like that. But I wasn't, because of this experience that yeah, this is something that you can always do and make
Right.
money. So that's where the jugaad introduction comes, because I had done a couple of odd jobs by then, from, like I said, door-to-door marketing, some survey jobs, stuff like that. So I knew that yeah, you can make your way out of life. That's not so much of a problem. Now
Right.
it's about like doing something that you really like.
Right. Right.
So that's how I started. Like, okay, I had this passion for computers, and I started with like assembling and repairing laptops and stuff like that, computers and laptops and stuff. That was for a few years at Lamington Road that I set up. But it was a great experience because I was surrounded by Marwadis. Like, I'm a Keralite,
Uh-huh.
and then surrounded by Marwadis, and suddenly the entire business environment is different from what you have grown up at home. Also, what you have done, though you think like you put yourself into job, but Marwadis are completely different. I in fact call them my first gurus of business,
Uh-huh.
because there are so many things that I did not even think how, it was just not imaginable that this is how business is done.
Uh-huh.
In fact, sometimes I think when we, like, this is an entrepreneurship show, I would like to say that sometimes we don't give due respect to the Marwadi, the community that actually did business in India. We see the negative side, and typically that's very India, that we always focus on the negatives more than the positives. But
Right.
there's a lot of positive side to the work that they do, how
Mhm.
they groom their people, how they arrange funds, and how at what margins they work. Because now that I've done business across the world, from Lamington Road to China to elsewhere, I don't see any other trading community which can be so efficient like the Marwadis and the Gujus can be, especially the
Wow.
Marwadis. They
Wow.
can be absolutely efficient. So in fact, we can be the traders of the world. There's no one who can work at this level of efficiency, and the max is like so much in their head. They
Uh-huh.
can compute that micro profit, and then they'll be happy, and then they'll do that deal on the fly, like, okay, done.
Right. Right.
And most of those deals, I'm very sure normal people would back out from, but they
Okay.
do it. So a lot of due respect to them. And from there, though, I kind of did that business for a few years. I realized that this is how things are, and I made my way up into that community. I had my initial challenges because they're a very closed community, and mostly they're all Marwadis with Marwadis. Others don't, and it's not that
You're the outsider.
yeah, you're an outsider, and it's more about, it's not because they just love their own people. It's just that they have a way of thinking. It's like birds of feather flock together kind of a thing, that they all think same and the rest of them don't. That's why they're not able. So I could think like them, and they happily accepted me. That was part one of the story. Part two is where I packed my bags and I said, okay, China. There's something that happened. Actually, someone told me Shenzhen is a great place for electronics, and I always had this passion for electronics and computers. And they said, if you want to do more on this space, you should go to China, Shenzhen, and that place has like amazing stuff. Me being that guy who wants to try things out. Yeah, explore. We are like, okay, jump into it and see what happens. And I bought a ticket and I went to China. But if today, and even if the sensible me were to be doing that, I'm not very sure if I would be doing it. It's only at a certain age and a certain level of stupidity that you can jump like that without knowing anyone. And just because you don't know that it's going to be so different, that no one speaks English, and that you land in a space where there is nothing written in English and you just lost. I mean, what do I do next from here? Where do I even go? You know, it was like absolute that sort of confusion when I landed in China. I just didn't know what to do next because nothing was in English. And from there, I eventually did manage to settle there and start a company there. Went on to become the city leader for startup community as part of Startup Weekend. Went on to become the community leader for developer community in Mozilla. Also got featured by the government there as part of Make Fit Shenzhen for doing hardware business successfully there. All that, okay, so that's the phase 2 of life. And then I said, now I've learned another. So my second gurus are the Chinese. They taught me another way of efficiency, probably a level of efficiency which even unfortunately the Marwadis are not able to achieve. And that's more, the system is not working in their favor. In China, it's very aligned. The whole system is working in their favor. That's why they're able to do it so well, so efficient, and sell it to the world. So I learned a lot from them. But then by then I had like a decent life. I had saved enough money. So I thought, now what do I do next? What do I do next? So there's a lot of things actually. I had this thing that should I just quit everything and just go for, just travel the world? That was one thing. And there were a lot of other thoughts I had, like, just go party. And I even went to Vegas and stuff like that. And I want different things. I just wanted to collect experiences. But then I asked myself, and then I realized there's one thing that I had always in my mind right from as a child, and that I've not done. I always wanted to make this contribution to India, that my life should give something to India. This was always there as a feeling. And I said, this one aspiration still remains. Though most of the business side aspirations are okay. I've reasonably understood business side. So I said, but I still not done a very large business, like not a 500 crore or 1,000 crore business. I had not reached that stage. So there were these two aspirations. But the primary being, I wanted to do something for India. So I thought I'll go back to India and let me do something that aligns with my own personal interest and also serves the country. So then that's how IoT came into picture. I thought the next thing that will bring growth for any country is IoT and AI. And what I learned from China is like the abundance or the efficiency that comes from in China is because of mass availability of skill. You get high skilled people, and that's available in abundance. Anything from video editing to anything that you want, you'll get a lot of people to do it at very fast pace, because they're so skilled at it, and they'll charge you nominal. Actually, they're charging you very high, but you feel it's very nominal because of the time taken to complete that task. You have actually paid a lot for 1 hour, but the output that you got in 1 hour, because this person is so skilled, is very high. That's how things appear cheap in China. So I thought, let's do the same thing in India. Let's mass skill India in IoT and AI, and let's bring a lot of international wealth back to India. That's again another stupid thought, very, very simplistic and very stupid.
No, I
But yeah,
think
I think most of my ideas started with very stupid,
I think
very simple
it's
ideas.
the word stupid is not right. I think it's crazy. The word crazy.
Yeah,
You're
probably,
a
yeah.
crazy guy, right? Like Steve Jobs says, it's the crazy ones who change the world, right? So and I've been following you so much. We've had a lot of conversations on, what you're going to do in future, how passionate you are about artificial intelligence, and how
Right.
you're really, really thinking of IoT and stuff. So tell me about the community. IoT, when you came to India and you started it, and you majorly work with students, right? And you
Right.
train them, and your one side of your story that you are making happen is that you are making India skilled in terms of
Right.
AI and IoT
Right.
as a important, very important future skill. So tell me about that. Tell me about the community. Tell me about how you're working with students, how you're working with different institutions. What your work comprises of on a daily basis.
Okay. So first I'll communicate the vision very clearly. The vision was like what I saw in China. There were a lot of micro entrepreneurs, as in people were mostly entrepreneurs. Then, it was not so much of a job market. It's more of an entrepreneur market. So I thought we need to create, if the society has to go to the next level as a country, we need entrepreneurship in everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone must take ownership of their tasks. And so this community was started with that mindset,
Okay.
that let's create global entrepreneurs out of India.
Okay.
Okay. So this has one aspect which is technical, other aspect is entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So with this focus, we said, let me mass skill. So on a day-to-day basis, this is what we did. First of all, I made a whole course around IoT and AI. And I was myself the teacher, because initially I wanted to, the initial idea was even simpler than this. The initial
Mm-hmm.
idea was just to bring in trainers,
Okay.
let people educate some young people, help them make startups, be the
Uh-huh.
kind of investor, passive investor in them, and then make some passive income. All those good stories that we
Right.
hear. You get a lot
Residual
of startups
income.
that you have. Yeah. Like इतनी सारी मुर्गियाँ इतने सारे अंडे देंगे टाइप्स वाला स्टोरी है. इतने सारे स्टार्टअप बनेंगे, सब में मेरा थोड़ा थोड़ा इक्विटी होगा, मैं सब बोलेंगे कितना अच्छा बंदा है, हमारे को क्रिएट क्या कैसे बनेंगे, all this stupid, simple story, but nothing of that worked. No one was willing to come and train because it sounded very crazy. कि इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स कुछ सीरियसली स्टार्टअप नहीं करते, ऐसा कुछ होने नहीं वाला. Or and they were very expensive because the
Right.
foreign guys pay them very well. In India, actually, the talent is not cheap.
Right.
It's very expensive,
Right.
because the large corporations pay them a lot. So no one was willing to come. So then I had to learn it myself and train people.
Wow.
So okay, that's how I became a trainer myself.
Okay.
Um, Entrepreneurship was easy because I already had a lot of modules and all of that. That was not the tough part.
Okay.
But I was not actually a Linux guy. A lot of people now, because I've made a custom operating system based on
Mm-hmm.
Linux, they think like I always knew Linux. But no, that was not the case. I actually learned for this startup,
Right.
for this whole teaching purpose. That's when I put myself into it, and I was not finding anyone willing to do that technical work for me. I
Okay.
put myself and I acquired that skill.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's how I acquired the skill. And then so we went on. First I had a very small batch of 3 people. The next batch was 20 people.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And
Okay.
from that 20 people, I got my core team. Now they are my co-founders, as
Okay.
in those students have become equity holders in my company. Like
Okay.
we went on to create Shunya operating system as an operating system for IoT and AI.
Okay.
And what we this is how, so on a day-to-day basis, what I do is I approach most of these colleges and tell them that you need to skill your people at the level where industry is.
Right.
Currently there's a huge gap. Whatever they think they know, whatever they're learning is actually absolutely outdated. They cannot either make a startup, not even get a good job.
Right.
In both
Right.
cases, it's just irrelevant stuff that they're learning.
Right.
And the tough part of making it industry relevant, though almost everyone's been talking about it, that this has to become industry relevant, is a lot of top stuff does not happen in India.
Ah,
You
correct.
know? So
Correct.
there are not enough entrepreneurs in India. We are
Right.
mostly all these, like even if you see the big brands in India,
Hmm.
in these cases, they are all top level employees. So
Right.
they don't have the strategic vision and plan. They're mostly implementers, and the vision is abroad.
Right.
The top
Right.
guys sit outside of India and they have the full picture. Our guys have part pictures,
Right.
and then they implement it. So even if our colleges go and approach them, they kind of give them a part of the story, which is okay, which is incrementally improving,
Right.
and it's still good, but it still doesn't give them an entrepreneur needs a full vision of
Right.
what is the
Absolutely.
space all about,
Absolutely.
right? Not just a part of the story,
Right.
which makes him a good employee, but not a good entrepreneur. He doesn't
Right.
have the market understanding. So I saw that this was lacking, and we brought in this into the course. In fact, the first module of the course is where they compare current products that are selling in the market,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
study the architecture, how this is made, what are the components that go to make such a product, why does it win against its competitors, and all of that. And then this, so they understand it technically and market wise, that this is what is selling in the IoT market and what constitutes this particular product. Then they pick modules to learn so they can make
Right.
something similar.
Got it. Got it.
So that's how it is designed. So
Awesome.
this is
Awesome.
how, so they're brought to the level of what the industry is today at. And then they, yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. I think, like you started the conversation itself with India-centric skilled mass skilling and, making India one of the centers for more knowledge, like knowledge center, right? That's what you've been thinking of. So tell me about your operating system, which is called Shunya. Again, very, very Indian, right?
Yeah.
Last time, I think you've had a couple of conversations about this, and you did tell me about the story about somebody else wanted to write a code, and you asked how many lines of code does operating system have. All of that conversation we've had. So I would like you to share that same, story with our audience about Shunya, how Shunya is shaping up and how it came into existence, what all went into making Shunya what it is today.
Okay. Shunya is probably the epitome of craziness. Like two guys, we Kirti, what level do we sit at, and then imagine of creating an operating system and shaking up the world.
Okay.
So this takes all the craziness so far. This is probably the wildest and the craziest thing I'm doing. But let's see, have fun, right? I mean, we have to have
Right.
fun in life all the time.
Right. Absolutely.
What if you don't aim high and there's no
Right.
fun, right?
Right.
So so what Shunya primarily does is, what I see the future is that a lot of products are going to have IoT and AI as a combination. In fact, there's a new word called as AIoT. 2 years back when we started this as a combination of AI and IoT, this word did not exist. This only
Okay.
came in December 2019. And so at that time we thought like, no, but I was kind of sure that this is where the world is going to go. Devices would have AI built into it, and AI would not remain restricted to the cloud. And
Right.
there would be a small there would be demand for these AI running on small devices
Okay.
along with IoT as a combination.
Mhm.
So Shunya is in that space. What Shunya does is it's a very small OS which like takes only 70 MB, and in 70 MB it packs both IoT and AI.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. So when we say AI, it doesn't do voice at this point, but it does all of vision. So it has a lot of features on computer vision. And this small thing, because it's so small, what it does is it makes it very competitive. And it is again built with the vision that a lot of people from India should be able to make startups, not just we make. I mean, like I make one startup. That's not at all
Right.
the goal.
Right.
So what we have done is we have made this base layer. We call it like the pizza, like we want to make creating an AIoT startup like a pizza thing.
Yeah.
We have made the base where all the heavy lifting has already happened. Like
Mhm.
we have put all that AI and IoT into a small base and given out APIs, which are very simple to use. Like
Okay.
if tomorrow you want to build a face detection module, you don't have to learn the whole of API. We give you one function, that's
Right.
detect face.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the rest of
Wow.
the OS with the whole layer of AI is taken care. All you need to
Wow.
write is detect face.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
And then you
fantastic.
use that and you consume that API and you think of your own idea, genius idea that, okay, if I detect face, I want to open a door, I want to pour coffee. If I see this
Uh-huh.
particular person, or I want to throw coffee on his face, okay, whatever you want to do with it, that's your call. I mean,
Right. Crazy.
come with the next crazy idea, but we have built the base. So the
Right.
idea is that you build all these needed stuff in IoT and AI. So
Uh-huh.
whatever the industry needs, everything is modular, and each module is converted into a very low footprint code, and given out as a small function.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, like you need the whole IoT stack. Everything in the IoT stack is like now becoming a function. So it's like probably what do you say? Uh, these guys, right? The furniture guys. Who are they? The DIY furniture guys.
IKEA.
IKEA, yeah. So
Yeah.
you just get these modules that you can mix and match and create stuff, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
we were
Uh-huh.
like that for AI and IoT. So you want
Okay.
to create an AI and IoT device. There are different parts that we have given you in terms of functions. You just join them and you
Okay.
get a product. So a
Awesome.
lot of people can create startups with our Shunya OS, and we would just charge very small. Our idea is to charge like $1 per feature only,
Okay.
and
Okay.
in fact, the OS saves them because the way the OS is written. Typically, to get such an AI function, even if you were to run on the edge, you would need $100 hardware because the OS is very efficient. We can
Okay.
run it on a $10 hardware. So though you
Wow.
pay us only $1 for the
Wow.
software, you actually save already $90 on the hardware.
Wow. That's
So
very nice.
out of that, you're paying me only very little.
Right.
So this is how it is planned. And yeah, that's where things are moving with Shunya. And
Awesome.
likely we should have launched it by April, but we are a little late on that because of this COVID. Yeah.
So
Just
tell me about that. Tell me about how you guys are still working, how you guys are coping with COVID-19, and now is the launch being prepared. I think once the lockdown is lifted and stuff, you are really gearing up for the launch because, like you said, April was when you wanted to launch it. So what
yeah.
is going on in the background? How is COVID-19 treating you? What is the atmosphere within your community of IoT?
Okay. So one thing, obviously, it was a big disruption for us because in April I was supposed to be in China and make this into a module, a hardware software combo module, and launch it worldwide. That was the whole idea. But after February, I couldn't go to China, so we had to completely change.
Right.
But what we changed is we made the entire internship, entire training online. Now it's
Okay.
completely online. Already we did that in March itself,
Okay.
and we did not wait for the whole lockdown to happen. We were like, okay, probably this is how things are going to be. Let's go online completely.
Right.
And in fact, even in staying in office, we used to try that we would not talk to each other and see if we can still work all good.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so before the lockdown, we were fully prepared to go completely online,
Okay.
and all the systems were tested. And so now, in fact, this internship we got around 900 people that we handled entirely online.
Wow. Wow.
They completed their training, everything online. So we have moved to a fully online mode.
Okay.
No hiccups on that, and very smoothly done process. In fact, it's improved our processes a lot. I would say it's turned out as a boon. It's
Okay.
really turned out as a boon because
Great.
now people have to write down; they cannot talk.
Uh-huh.
So all discussions have to be written down, and they have to be very structured and organized. And this is giving us very, amazing amount of clarity because OS is a complex piece. There are too many parts to it
Right.
in different dimensions. You can look at it from different dimensions, and because now all of this has to be documented very, very, very precisely. So we have added one more layer. That was always like that. We were very, very strict on documentation,
Uh-huh.
but now it's got even more clear.
Okay.
So that's on the operational side. Yes, on the operational side we have become way more efficient, but on the business side, yes, there is a problem because by now I should have sold some good numbers to China. That deal is gone on hold.
Okay.
But now a new deal is emerging. I don't know, probably you might see this product, and if you see it then you know that we made it or we missed it. So there's
Okay.
a new product that's selling a lot in China,
Okay.
and so the product is that there is going to be, like, you have biometrics now, right?
Right.
When you go into an office, you have a card that you swipe in or a finger that you like touch
Right.
and record your attendance.
Right.
So what's changed there is that there's a new device coming in which recognizes your face and an IR temperature sensor built into it. So you don't actually come close to you don't touch the device.
Right.
It records it logs your temperature and your face and opens the door for you.
Oh,
you
wow.
know so
Wow.
yeah, so fortunately for us, for the last 1 year we were working on this technology and we have it already with us.
Very nice. Very nice.
In this whole period, I moved into suddenly social projects. Like last 2 months we have made an open source patient monitoring device. We have made an open source ventilator. On the ventilator there's a small part left, but almost 90% of that design is done and open sourced.
Wow.
We have also done one more AI, which is a ICU patient monitoring project, where because we think there's a lot of patients and not enough nurses to monitor them. So we made an AI which monitors, and if somebody's gasping or calling for alert, the AI alerts the nurse and the doctor, oh, there's this patient.
Wow.
So that is another project that we have made.
That's pretty
But
high
that's also
tech.
on competition. So, and then also I'm running Care for Maharashtra. So obviously this is the space that this is the state that gave me so much. I grew up here, so I thought it's also time to pay back. So we started Care for Maharashtra, and we are donating PP and kits and a lot of gloves to all these medical workers every day. So there's a team set up of more than 40 people who are calling all these hospitals, identifying demands, verifying it. There's a global task force set up to connect.
Wow.
So that's also happening parallelly. All of this is happening parallelly, and yeah. So this is where much of this is going. I mean, how things change for us.
A lot of
Yeah,
things, man. Nikhil, you're doing so many different things. I mean, IoT as a base, IoT and AI as a base, and putting your OS, plugging that in, and then on top of that, you are helping a lot of, when you talk about ventilators and ICU patient monitoring, all of that, a lot of awesome stuff that you guys are doing. Tell me one thing. So you talked about, internships that 900 students or graduates joined you. How if some student sitting in some part of India or anywhere outside of India wants to get in touch with you, wants to, become an intern and contribute to the work that you guys are doing? How is that? What is that process? How does even for that matter, not just an individual student, but even for that matter, a whole institution, some engineering college somewhere in the remote village somewhere. How can they get in touch with you, and what is the process?
So actually, what I'll drop in the link. What we have done is there are two internships that we offer in IoT and AI.
Okay.
So for IoT internship, the link is iotiot.in/IoT internship. Okay, I've dropped the link.
I will be putting that link in the description. So don't worry about that. So I'll take that from you and I'll put that. So tell me the process.
Yeah. The process is on this page. You will see if you can open that. Here is the process. So basically, people apply, and then how it is made is I want to give value at every stage. At every stage, whatever he gives in, as in a person applies, also he must get something back. That's how we have thought. So someone applies, he gets into a coding test. There are two possibilities. He passes the coding test or he fails the coding test. If he fails the coding test, he gets modules from us free to prepare again. Okay.
Very nice.
He still gets a reward. Okay. Now the people who clear the coding test go into the next round. They first come into that module that I was talking about, where they get industry awareness. Right? Where they are made, okay, now you come into the IoT skilling space. In this space, this is what is happening. So your first thing is to understand what is happening in the industry. So at that stage, if you quit, you still have understood what's happening in the industry. And at that point is where he chooses what he wants to learn to make. He gets that choice. And then he goes further and picks modules that he wants to learn. He skills himself or mentors support, and they clear and go on. But if they stop in between, also they still have gained that much part. And at every stage, it's complete in itself.
You have gamified it with more rewards, is what you have done.
And we also maintain a leaderboard of how many people are actually doing it at what stage. That is something that they constantly see. Oh, how many people are at which stage, and what pace am I going at?
Yeah. Very nice. So, two questions I have. One is about Founder Institute. So you have Founder Institute Pune chapter is what you're handling now. So tell me about that. Why, I know you're already a community person. You want to build a lot of things around startups and stuff. And then, obviously getting Founder Institute to India in Pune is not an easy job, right? A lot of compliances need to be taken care of. How did you get into this, and what are you doing with it?
Uh, Actually, yeah, like for anything I do, there are multiple reasons. It's never one.
Uh-huh.
So and usually the first reason is because someone asked for a help or something that I felt like must be done or they deserve that help. I cannot say just that. And so it is more about Sejal. Sejal is one of our core members, and she wanted to do this some thing in entrepreneurship. She wanted to take some leadership in entrepreneurship, and she totally deserves it. I mean, she's been with us for a while and very very sincere. Super sincere girl.
Okay.
So I said, okay, let's see what we can do for you. As in, I'm out of this in a way that I've seen so many on, but Pune also needs it because I'm
Right.
not seeing a professional program in Pune
Mhm.
where people, there are a lot of mentors, but there's not a professional structured program which
Right.
gives them two important things, traction and funding.
Right.
So making them ready. So I thought there's a need for it in this. So then I applied and I got Sejal, and then there was like, okay, you introduced me to Pratap before, and
Uh-huh.
I roped in Pratap. I actually asked you also at that time before asking
Yes.
Pratap. I remember. Yeah, but you were busy.
Yeah.
So I wanted one more person, and Pratap turned out to be another gem as a person. As in, he brought in a lot of required mentors, good ones. That's how the whole thing fell in place.
Right.
And we had to take some tests, and it was hard. But the primary reason in Founder Institute is we want something very professional of Silicon Valley grade in Pune, which
Uh-huh.
I think was lacking. Not a
Right.
structured program. People, there are a lot of programs and there are a lot of talks, but they're all coming from all over the place. It's
Right.
not in a structured form.
Right.
That at this stage you need this help, and let me give you a template, which is all the intelligence of Valley compressed, and
Right.
this is how things should be done.
Yeah.
And also, it's very hard at times for startups because when they really see why Valley makes so much money and how disciplined they are and how well thought everything is,
Uh-huh.
uh, reality hits a little. Oh, there's a lot of work behind the startup. There's so many things that
Right.
probably many of them have not even done enough customer validations. They have never spoken with their customers, have gone out and understood their feature
Right.
requirement. This is the primary requirement in Power Institute.
Right.
So these things are lacking, and people are just going on building. So
Right.
all this is solved on the institute.
Nice.
That's what it does. Okay.
Nice. Nice. Awesome. Awesome. So one last question. A message to aspiring entrepreneurs. What somebody sitting somewhere, thinking about starting off. What is that one message you would like to give to that person who is who is having doubts, who is not as crazy as you are, but has wants to do something, wants to they have a feeling of doing it, but there's a lot of doubts, there's a lot of they're not in the exposed to the startup ecosystem, things like that. So what is your message to those people, that person who's watching this?
Okay. So we always say this in the same internship. Also, we say you need two qualities, and that is one is open-minded and persistent. Okay. First, there is no way you can, don't try to learn it all before you launch. I will learn and I will go. All learning will not happen. You have to obviously learn a little. You don't directly jump in. You get some idea of this, but you're open-minded at every stage to understand and fix it as things come.
Mm-hmm.
You learn a little, you take the plunge, and then go on fixing. And believe if you're consistently chasing one thing with persistence and open-mindedness to learn, you will reach goal. There is no way that you can today predict that, oh, these hurdles will come or that will come.
Right.
Those many hurdles might come more than what you think, but also a door will open at that
Absolutely.
stage, as long as you're open-minded and persistent and you have not given up on your path. What happens I see is a lot of people come to a certain point and they think, oh, there's a hurdle here, let me find another way, and they keep switching that way and go into a different idea, jump there, and then they come across a hurdle, then switch to another one. That way you're probably going in circles, or you're confusing yourself. It's that hurdle that you need to be persistent on. Like when we started IoT or Shunya, all this was very hard and very crazy. To make an operating system was very crazy. Put an AI into the small footprint was crazy. And honestly, like I said, honestly, I did not know any of this. Neither did I know
Right.
AI, neither did I know IoT. But
Mm-hmm.
we persisted. We said, okay, there is a hurdle. For
Right.
sure, there is a hurdle.
Right.
But I'm sincere to now take this up as my goal and solve it. So if any one of them watching this show thinks they want to be an entrepreneur, these are two qualities that they must have. They must be
Awesome.
willing to learn. Stay hungry, stay foolish is what it is actually.
Yeah.
You know, Stay foolish is your
wonderful.
open-mindedness.
Yes.
Stay, and persistent is, yeah, just stay. No,
Yeah.
I have to do more. Yeah, I'm foolish. Open-minded is, and I have to persist. I cannot quit. You know,
Awesome.
yeah, and ways
Awesome.
open. There are
Fantastic.
too many people. Yeah,
Fantastic. I think that that message is really, really, very inspiring. And for the work that you're doing, these are just words that you're speaking out. But I know there's a lot of hard work that you and your team are doing, and there's a lot of work that you've been doing for years now. I've been following you for years, and I wish you all the very best for Shunya's launch.
thank you.
And I really. From the bottom of my heart, I feel that Shunya becomes one of those, is amazing OSs that the world has ever seen, because that's our identity for India that you're creating. Thank you so much, Nikhil. Thanks for being
Thank you
on
so
Coffee with
much.
People.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye. Bye.